room and I was crying. For a solid week, I went around just with this great depression because I have 3 regular children, and even though I'm divorced, I can call them up and see them anytime I want to, and that's the greatest feeling for a parent. After this experience, I told my wife, and it was so comforting knowing that even though she did not understand, she wasn't telling me that it was my imagination, it wasn't my fantasy. Finally, here was someone that I loved, that was close to me, that was telling me, that was letting me know and showing me that they weren't thinking that I was lying or that I was crazy. I don't know what's going on with you, but I'm here to help you through it. A human cannot give me the pain, emotionally or physically, that these beings have done to me. It's hard enough surviving the human reality, but you can't be weak surviving the human reality and the alien reality. You gotta be strong. And it's my friends, the ones who I owe my sanity to, and my wife and my family who've supported me. It's been a blessing because I've opened my eyes to new realities. I no longer look at life strictly from a human perspective. I'm looking at it from their perspective too. My view of life has extended past this earth into the universe. I do not credit the beings for the blessing. I can credit the human race for the blessing. When I cried, it was a human that comforted me. It's a human I share with. It's a human that's exploring this, not the beings at all.
I had grown up feeling a great deal of terror and a great deal of actual victimization from my experiences. Being taken by them and not knowing what was going to happen. A lot of times I thought, is this it? Is this the end of my life? What are they going to do? What's going on here? I came to a point and a realization that I am now in touch with something that's greater, larger than my old world that I had once known. And to say that I really, truly, ultimately understand a lot of what they do, I can't say that. But I feel much more comfortable about it.
My first husband was quite fearful of what was happening. He didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want me to talk about it. He didn't want any of this to happen. It was during those years of raising my children and trying to be a normal working part-time mom and trying to keep a marriage together. And in the meantime, having all these encounters, it was a very difficult time in my life. Very difficult time. When I first met my second husband, I knew that I had to tell him who I was because I would not go through another marriage where I felt stifled and where there was fear about this. We had talked about getting married, and he said to me, "Is there anything that I should know about you before we get married? I don't like surprises." And I said, "Well, not much, except that I encounter UFOs and I've been abducted by aliens." And he looked at me and he said, "That's really interesting. I'd like to hear more about that." So he was very open to it. He'll tell you that he doesn't understand all of it, but he gives me the freedom to be who I am, and that's all I ask. And I love him dearly because of that. I look at my life, and I just can't imagine not having these experiences and not being so connected with other parts of the universe now. I'm very, very grateful for my experiences. I wouldn't change anything. It's made me a better person.
One of the interesting things that happened to me when the experiences started happening when I was an adult again was it actually took me out of my shell. I was very shy before that. I was a lot more quiet. So it helped me break through that. And I think that's what the ETs are here for, is to help us grow and develop and find out who we are and take responsibility for the kind of lives that we're leading in this life. Because I think we're really making quite a mess of the world as it is. And I think that they can see what we're doing very much like a neighbor who can see how much trash we're throwing out in our yard, and yet we don't see it ourselves, and yet they have to look at it. I think that they feel that they have to say something before we just totally bury ourselves in our own garbage.
You can't even fathom how big this universe is and what's going on out here. It's like the T-shirt you see with the solar system, and they have a little arrow that says you are here, and the Earth is just like a pebble and many grains of sand. It's humbling. It's awe-inspiring. It's fantastic. I don't know their agenda on coming to see me, other than to at least help me to say, search who you really are. Broaden your horizon, and then take that out in the world. I know that what has happened is I have used my life to serve others in a more intentional way since I've been visited. I could have gone to my grave like Willie Loman does in Death of a Salesman, thinking I have to be a success by how much I sell or how much I do, and not knowing who I was. I could have done that like so many people do. Thoreau says most people live lives of quiet desperation. Well, he was on something.
These experiences have overall been a very positive thing for me. One of my favorite positives is that I have interacted with this other culture. That exchange between two beings who are finding out something about each other. And that is just amazing for me, because when I look into the eyes of these creatures, a whole new world is opened up, and it's really exhilarating. The best way I see to go about things in the future is to become the best human being I can possibly be, because that is my charge. I feel like I have been made aware of my own sort of presence in this universe, and I have to play my role, which is that of a human being living on Earth.